All right, good evening, everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to the commission meeting for November 8th, 2022 to order. If you would all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Manager McGill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioner Grella.
Here.
Commissioner Ranny.
Here.
Commissioner Silver.
Here.
Commissioner Slaughter Wilson.
Here.
Commissioner Flynn.
Present. All right, thank you, Manager McGill. Item number 1 on the agenda, we have a presentation by retired Chief James Adams.
Good evening. Thanks for allowing me to come before you this evening. I represent the Pennsylvania Chiefs of Police Association. I'm the accreditation program coordinator. I run the law enforcement accreditation program. And the reason I'm here tonight is to publicly present and recognize the amount of work that your police department recently achieved by becoming the 149th police department in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to become accredited. And I think it's significant. This is more than just a certificate. It's more than just stickers on your police car. There's a lot of work that goes into it. We have approximately 1,100 police departments in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We have about 375 enrolled in our program. We've accredited in the life of our program, which went live in 2001, about 175, and we currently have 149. Think, well, what happened to some? Well, it's not just a lot of work to become accredited. It's a lot of work to maintain the accreditation, and I'm not proud of the fact that it's a reality. Some agencies can't maintain it because it is a lot of work for a lot of different reasons. So we periodically lose a couple. So with 149 accredited agencies, that means the Mount Lebanon Police Department is one of the top 13% in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. If you crunch the numbers, quite an achievement. So what does this mean? It means they spend a lot of time looking at our standards, comparing them with their policy, tweaking policy, rewriting policy and procedures, and making sure that their agency policy manuals, special operations orders comply with our 125 standards or 125 best practices of providing professional law enforcement services to the people they serve. It's not just 125 standards, but some of them have what we call bullets or substandards. And when you add them all up, they're complying with 370 best practices. If you want to take a look at them, go to the Pennsylvania Chiefs public facing webpage. You don't need any special credentials to get in. There's an accreditation tab. Go ahead and click on it. And all those standards and substandards are all posted there. You can look at what your police department is actually complying with and that their policies are actually meeting. So what's the benefit of becoming accredited? Well, it's difficult to actually stand here and give you real numbers because it's sort of like saying, how many burglaries did your police department prevent last night by being out on patrol and being visible? I don't know. How many crashes they prevent by being visible out there in the public and being seen? But the one thing we can tell you is that the statistics are showing that when you compare accredited agencies with non-accredited agencies of similar size, the non-accredited agencies get sued statistically a lot more than the accredited agencies. And even when accredited agencies do get sued, the payouts are significantly less. So your command staff, your police department is actually one of your key risk managers for your municipality. Hopefully your insurance carrier recognizes that because some insurance carriers actually do recognize the fact that accredited agencies save them money because they don't have near payout. So it's something worthwhile to check into. So I can stand here and talk about accreditation all night long. I'd love to, but something tells me you have some other important business. But seriously, our webpage is available to you that has a lot of accreditation information. But really, if you have questions about accreditation, you now have some resident experts here at your police department that truly understand accreditation. Because I sent 3 assessors out here several weeks ago that spent 2 days on site with your police department, going through their policy manual, making sure not only that the policies are in place, but another key component of accreditation is they have to prove compliance with their policies. It's one thing to have a policy manual sitting on the shelf, but it's just as important making sure that all the staff understands the policy manual and actually complies with it. So we require proofs of compliance. Every year they'll have to do a self-assessment, send me a very lengthy report, which I will evaluate. And then every third year, I'll be sending another team of assessors out here and putting your police department through the exact same process again. So like I said, it's a difficult process to achieve, but also there's a lot of work. But obviously, I think it did your residents good that you have an accredited agency. Not saying that Mount Lebanon wasn't professional before, but now they actually have a seal of approval that independents came in and evaluated and can show that they are an accredited agency. So without any further ado, I'd like some representatives of the police department to come up so that I can publicly present their accreditation certificate from the Pennsylvania Chiefs of Police. Congratulations, congratulations. Why don't I get in the middle of you? Maybe have a stool. Quite welcome.
So at this time, we really appreciate the opportunity, and really, Jim, we can't thank you enough for coming out and presenting the accreditation award to us. We are very proud of our officers. We're very proud of the work that the officers do. And we can't say enough that the point that Jim emphasized, that none of this happens unless the officers go out there and do the work that they're expected to do and that they do on a daily basis. So really, the meat and potatoes lies within the officers and what they do, and really, we're very prideful of them, and none of this happens without them going out there doing the hard work. With that, we have a special presentation tonight that we would like to give to a couple of our officers. A number have received awards recently. And one of those awards that we've received and been fortunate enough to be bestowed upon 7 of our officers and 3 postal workers who they work with was the Law Enforcement Area Directors Award, which is the lead award made up by all federal agencies, the heads of federal agencies, their administration, and all the major police departments in the Western District of Pennsylvania. It's sponsored by the U.S. Attorney's Office. It's a very prestigious award because it's voted on by their peers. And out of the 14 nominations, only 3 were selected. And out of those 14 nominations, they were all amazing work by amazing individuals doing life-saving work every day on the streets. And so I'll read an excerpt from the lead award nomination that these officers received. So at this point, I'd like to call Lieutenant O'Brien up, Detective Shipe, Officer Elf. Please, you want to come up, Deputy Chief Petrus, as I go through this, and we'll present to you the accommodation from the municipality. So with that, this group of law enforcement officers being recognized showed an exemplary amount of professionalism, teamwork, and life-saving skills, which resulted in the arrest and indictment of Matthew Harrison for aggravated assault and attempted homicide of a United States postal worker. The officers who responded to the scene undertook life-saving measures after immediately recognizing the victim had been severely beaten and was in immediate need of life-saving care. Officers Robert Culp and Jake Elk provided first aid to the victim, which aided in saving his life, while responding officers immediately recognized the need to contain the subject to prevent further harm to the community and effect an apprehension of the actor involved. Utilizing teamwork to contain the actor in a residence which he had fled to, Lieutenant O'Brien coordinated a complex incident involving multiple scenes and scene locations with the assistance of Officer Shipe and Officer Crabb, resulting in utilizing mutual aid, which included the Postal Inspector's Office, City of Pittsburgh, and others, and subsequently arresting and ultimately indicting the actor on federal charges for this assault. And when I say the individuals involved in this incident saved this postal worker's life, it is no understatement. This individual suffered significant wounds, and these officers undertook life-saving measures to save his life, all the while maintaining control of that scene and successfully resulting in a prosecution. So we'd like to acknowledge their work, their efforts, and appreciate their efforts as well. And we appreciate the opportunity to highlight their work.
Just want to stand up. Good job.
Well, on both accounts, I think I can speak on behalf of the whole commission to say congratulations. We as a community, we as a commission are exceptionally proud of our police department. They not only go above and beyond in every day of their efforts, but they obviously are recognized by their peers on many fronts, whether through accreditation or through recognition through these awards. The broader community is seeing what we know. You serve. You are diligent, you're hardworking, you're true servants of the community. We really appreciate everything that you do every day. It is definitely recognized. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda this evening is manager's announcements, followed by community highlights by Commissioner Silverman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier tonight, the commission met in discussion session and received information and discussed the following items. We continued a discussion regarding traffic calming on Arden Road. We discussed a draft timeline for the realignment of our advisory boards. We heard a presentation by Mr. Sukol of a forestry management and invasive species control plan as recommended by the Parks Advisory Board. And unfortunately, we did not have time for updates from commissioners on their activities with our various boards, but we will make time for that at our next meeting. Prior to that meeting, the commission met an executive session to receive legal advice from the solicitor on a variety of topics. The next meeting of the commission will be held on Tuesday, November 22nd. The meeting will begin at 8 p.m. Here are the ways the public can participate in person. You don't need to pre-register, simply show up at the appropriate meeting time. And if you wish to speak at either citizens' comments or a public hearing, you may sign up at the sign-up sheet at the back of the room. Or you can do so, also participate remotely via the Zoom webinar format. Again, you don't need to pre-register. Simply click the link located on the meeting agenda on the municipal website. If you wish to speak during the citizens' comments or during public hearings, simply use the raised hand feature on Zoom and you'll be notified when it is your turn to speak.
Thank you, Manager McGill. Commissioner Silverman.
Thank you. Please observe Veterans Day with us this Friday, November 11th at 4 p.m. at the Veterans Memorial off Cedar Boulevard at the Rec Center. Keynote speaker will be Mount Lebanon resident John Armstrong, former sergeant who served with the 4th Infantry Division in Vietnam in 1967 and 1968. Please help us give thanks to all who served. The 2023 Manager's Recommended Budget is now online at mountlebanon.org, and it's also available to view here in the municipal building and at the public library. The second budget session is this Saturday, November 12th at 10 a.m. The third is Thursday, December 1st at 6 p.m. And the final budget workshop is scheduled for Monday, December 5th at 6 p.m. The final budget hearing and the adoption of the budget is scheduled for Tuesday, December 13th at 8 p.m. All meetings are in person at 710 Washington Road and on Zoom. Those Zoom links are available at mountlebanon.org. The public can comment during public hearings, but not at the workshops. We encourage all residents to participate. Registration is open for the 2023 Residents Academy, again at mountlebanon.org. The program is presented by our Community Relations Board with extensive support from the Public Information Office. It runs from January 5th to March 2nd. Residents will meet and hear from all municipal departments and some of our partner organizations to learn more about the community and how their tax dollars are spent. Attendance is capped at 30, but we will build a waiting list for the first preference for the following year. Commission would like to thank retiring police detective Gary Ratica, do my best to pronounce that. Is that Radica? Thank you, Gary Radica. Thank you. A long and healthy and happy retirement. Officer Radica has been a Mount Lebanon officer for 22 years, and we wish him the best. Finally, to get in the holiday spirit, Beverly Road will celebrate Beverly Bright Night on Thursday, December 1st from 7 to 8:30 p.m. with holiday treats, Santa and the tree lighting. On Washington Road, the Mount Lebanon Partnership will present the Mount Lebanon Winter Market and Holiday Celebration on Saturday, December 10th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Uptown Mount Lebanon. The event features lots of holiday shopping, farm and food stands, artists and makers selling handmade items, plus live music and holiday cheer. Thank you.
Can I add one additional piece of information related to the observance for Veterans Day? We will be making a decision a little later in the week, depending on the weather forecast. Right now, it's calling for 100% chance of rain on Friday. So depending on what that looks like, we may move that event indoors to the recreation center first floor lobby. But we'll update everyone as we get closer to the day.
Thank you. All right, this evening, we have Junior Commissioner Amy Tan coming to us via remote. Commissioner Tan, are you available? Good evening.
Yes. Good evening. As always, I will begin the report with a brief update on high school activities. From November 9th to November 12th, the High School Evening Theater Company will be showing Radium Girls in the Fine Arts Theater. Tickets are available online on the Mount Lebanon School District website. Additionally, the junior class is currently holding a food drive. Canned food, pastas, and other items are collected in homeroom. Next, since today is Election Day, I would like to talk about the services that are available for high school students who are of voting age. Every year, the High School Social Studies Department sends out an email that provides information on voting registration, primary elections, and mail-in ballots. Students receive access to a sample ballot, summaries of races and candidate positions, and resources from the League of Women Voters and Votes PA. In addition to resources from the Social Studies Department, there was a first-time voter's guide published in the latest edition of the high school newspaper, The Devil's Advocate. The guide talked about each candidate in an objective manner and their stances on key issues. The purpose of the guide is to enlighten the student body about factual information about the election. The age of constant political advertising has made it difficult for high school students to gain deeper understandings about the candidates. With resources from both teachers and students, the high school is creating an environment that fosters civic engagement and civic responsibility. It is exciting to see how the collaboration between students and faculty can evolve to build community. And this concludes my report for November 8th. Thank you.
Commissioner Tan, thank you. And it is great to hear that the high school continues its traditions of creating citizens who are civically engaged and informed. It is truly one of the most important things we can have in a democracy. So thank you for the update, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. All right, next up on the agenda is citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any resident to express an opinion on any topic pertaining to local government. The commission enjoys hearing from the public on various issues and learning about items to address in the future. If you have specific questions, we will try to answer them at the end of your comments. If we can't, we commit to getting you the answers as soon as possible. When I call your name, please come to the podium to address the commission. State your name and address for the record, and in fairness, we ask each speaker to share their thoughts for 5 minutes. The community is as good as each person in this room. We work together to make this a community that we can all be proud of, and we hope that the dialogue remains respectful. We also appreciate that the audience's efforts to refrain from any behavior that is disruptive or might intimidate free speech. And with that, this evening, first up is Mr. Dave Lackner. Good evening.
Good evening. I am Dave Lackner at 729 Brafferton Drive. So at the last meeting, we talked about the Ascend Lebo survey. One of the questions was people of all incomes should be able to find a place to live in Mount Lebanon. After the meeting, I started thinking about it a little bit more thoroughly. And I believe it'd be helpful if we had a breakdown of the current income levels of Mount Lebanon residents, so we could make an educated response to the question. Clearly, all Mount Lebanon residents receive income and are required to file a tax return. So the information is available. The question is, could you provide a breakdown of the income levels of Mount Lebanon residents? My second question is, while you're at it, could you provide an additional breakdown of what you would like the income statements to look like in the future? My last question is do you have a particular community that you're trying to model after from an income perspective? Is that Peters Township, Upper St. Clair, Castle Shannon, or something else? That's all my questions.
Well, I believe income levels are available by the Census Bureau, so that they can be pulled there publicly. I haven't done it in a while myself, but I think those are generally available to the public. I don't believe there are any desired targets or any target communities that are being targeted by the consultants, in that analysis.
So would Mr. McCreary be able to provide the breakdown of the current income levels, or is that something that I have to research myself?
I'm not aware. We have to research it.
Mount Lebanon can tax passive income. You wouldn't get a good picture.
All demographic is in the income side, because the passive income, retirement income, social security income.
It doesn't.
All those things are taxed. We don't have any of those records. It's just straight on for the taxes. Capital gains always.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have Miss Michelle Jarrett. Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Michelle Jarrett. I live at 421 Arden Road, the corner of Marlin West and Arden. Yes, right in the thick of it. I'm not sure if Mindy shared my email to her. Did you, Mindy?
I did not forward your email to her, but to the commission, but I did tell the commission that there's at least one resident that isn't happy with the speed bump proposals. Just to kind of give everyone feedback, what the residents are wanting and not wanting.
I just want to explain why this is the first time you're seeing me, the first time I'm weighing in. My husband, Joseph Harris, has been at previous meetings. Unfortunately, my husband has a terminal brain disease. And was weighing in without my knowledge. When I found out on the beginning of October, I immediately emailed Erin Timmerman, and she told me to email Mindy and Mike Haberman, which I did on October 7th. I didn't hear back from Mike until yesterday and Mindy today. I apologize. I have been trying to get up to speed with all of this, and I have done a lot of research, and I do have quite a few questions. But again, I know we're under the gun. I do have a question. The first question is, when is this being voted on, the proposal? Or any of the proposals? Am I allowed to ask that question now, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we can give you a definitive answer because there's still the one piece that we discussed in discussion session tonight related to what happens to that one particular intersection. I need to
Okay.
get additional information from the fire department in terms of the impacts on response time.
Okay.
The other, I'll say, pieces that were previously discussed and seem to have consensus would most likely not be voted on to move forward until sometime in early 2023, just because we need to be able to fund those improvements.
Right.
There'll also be a process to put those improvements out for bid, so implementation really would probably hit somewhere around mid 2023. How the commission.
I was under the impression
So,
that happened
no.
soon, and I'm stressed, obviously. Mike did ask me to come to the meeting tonight, the 8 o'clock meeting. When I asked, I followed up with a question when he responds to my email. And he said, I suggest you come to the meeting 8 o'clock, and that he would incorporate my concerns in his presentation. I saw some of his presentation. I didn't hear any of my concerns incorporated, but I may have missed it, and he's not here. So I thought he would be the one answering some of the questions. But the first question was the voting. I guess my second question is, when is the vote? And were environmental impact studies included in the in your research?
They're typically-
Environmental impact studies?
They're typically not included in my understanding for a traffic calming proposal.
Well, I spoke with the DEP today, the head of, I'm not sure what his title is, in Harrisburg, and he said that, there is a great detriment to having, speed humps. And I'll give you his wording. He's gonna follow up with me tomorrow. He said the speed humps directly impact air quality. Volatile organic compounds are present in vehicle emissions due to the slowing down and starting and then speeding up after all documented research is not my opinion, all day long, every day. Hazardous toxic air pollutants have been quantified with roadside monitors. Municipalities are moving away from using them for a variety of reasons and using traffic signaling stop signs, which have been proven to be much more effective. I have been told, when I did have an opportunity to question one of the neighbors who has been very involved, my initial input was, what about stop signs? And I was told that they're not, in Pennsylvania, it is not legal to use them for traffic control. The DEP said that is not true. He said there's just a process involved. And I did ask Mindy, and I know this is not practical to have you come and sit in my sunroom. I've asked everyone. My sunroom is on that corner of Marland West and Arden. My dogs are in there all day. It's their room. I'm in there. You would not believe what I see every day. It is not reflected in the traffic monitoring, the cameras. My neighbors all complained about when those cameras were in use. They were not at the times that we see the problems. And on paper, I'm sure that makes sense and it looks great. But sit in my sunroom and watch what happens. The stop sign at Marland West, I feel like it was a Band-Aid. When I've been told that, I'm sorry.
You
Should I
can
sit
wrap
down?
up. You
You
can
can
wrap
wrap
up.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of information I was given that may not be accurate. There's a definite detriment to the environment with these speed humps. Much research has been done, and they'll provide that to me in the next week. I just want to make sure I had time to send it out to you and make sure that I was aware if you had already incorporated that information.
You definitely have time to send that information to us.
DEP is going to call me back to weigh in on how this went today, and they're gathering all of the research studies for me, and I will definitely forward them to you.
That will be very interesting, not only for this situation, but for future
Yeah,
situations as well.
he said, most communities are moving away from this idea. But I'll let him explain that to you.
Great.
He's the expert. So thank you so much for listening and being patient with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you
Okay,
so
thank
much.
you.
All right, next up on the list is Mr. Peter Argentine. Is it Argentine or Argentine? Team, thank you.
The other way is the British way.
Uh-huh.
This is the Italian way. So on this election night, wanted to thank you all for your service to the community and all the hours you put in.
Thank you.
It's greatly appreciated. My name is, for the record, Peter Argentine. I live at 111 Mayfair Drive. I'm Chair of the Parks Advisory Board, working with Mindy. So I'm here mainly to talk about Parks Advisory Board. Did want to make one quick comment. I was listening into the discussion session and thought Ian's presentation was great. Something to keep in mind as you move forward is our meetings take 2 hours and we're often scrambling to finish them in 2 hours. So combining that with also the sports board. However, we think it's a great idea to combine. The other comment I would make at this time is to have people reapply for the boards and create the board as you want it to be. Probably a mix of incumbents, but you should really structure it on people's skills rather than people who are just there because they're it's how things are turning out. Those are just 2 quick comments on that. I'm here to just review on the capital improvement plan that we advised, since you're talking about budget, and also on the Parks Master Plan, which you requested that we do some initial work on, and Mindy's been guiding us on that. So actually, I'll start with the Parks Master Plan first. You remember the commission asked us to review the master plan and come up with an initial document of recommendations. We actually started out big. We kind of were looking through everything. Mindy fortunately reined us back in and asked for just a few accomplishable and
items to recommend for this year. We'll be submitting a more formal document next month after our next meeting, but we did take a vote to rank our priorities that we all brought to the table. And one of the Parks Board members wisely said that we should focus on items that are kind of parks wide and have a big impact. But again, perhaps not for the greatest dollar, but parks wide is something we're really thinking about now, that design be across, that we have design plans so that parks look like they've been designed together, that there's unity and so forth. So the top two issues, and also that these would have high visibility for the public. So the first one was one that was discussed by Rudy earlier in the meeting, which was the invasives management plan. And we're happy that that's going forward. And we're also very happy that Rudy involved our members in that process, seeking their feedback and expertise. We would like you to consider, as you put the budget together, having funds in there to implement the recommendations, because time is critical in this case. The invasives are really taking over. And the study, I believe it's pushed a little bit because the contract's being awarded a little bit later, but should be done within 6 months. So it'd be great not to have to wait another year to get going on it, especially since the fall is an important time to attack a lot of these invasives. So that'll have a big impact. I mean, I was in not Rob Hollow, I've been there too, Woodridge Park, and you can't even walk in some places because they're overgrown with invasives. My dog came out with 6 ticks on it, so it's bad. The second, actually tied for equal ranked voting, was signage and wayfinding. This is something that was actually recommended, I think, 20 years ago in the master plan, Parks Master Plan, and again in the more recent one in 2013, I believe, and then again in this one. And many of the things were accomplished in the 2013 master plan, Parks Master Plan, but this is one that we really want to get done. We'd hope to get some signs in by the end of the year with Mindy's encouragement. We're working with the Sports Advisory Board and also with Communications Director to get some designs down, and we hope to get signage at many of the parks next year. It'll provide a uniform identity, and you all know that the media is the message, and it will provide branding, for the community and really make us look like a much sharper community in a way. People won't have trouble finding things as much. Second place was trail management restoration plan. A lot of the other recommendations that were made by the consultant would fall from that. So it's one of the first things that has to be done. And the last thing is a reiteration of Meadowcroft phase 3, which was one of their recommendations, also one of our capital improvement plan recommendations. It's ADA, and we've been looking forward to it being completed. Thank you. How was that for speed talk?
Sorry.
Really good.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you got through it.
No questions. I just wanted to share all that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you for your service to the community. We do appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
All right, that is the conclusion of in-person citizen comments. Do we have any comments online?
None at this time.
Thank you very much. Okay, then we will move on to agenda item number 6. Commissioner Grella, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of the minutes from the adjourned meeting held October 25, 2022. Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item number 7 on the agenda, Commissioner Swager Wilson.
Thank you. This is a public hearing on ordinance bill number 6-22, amending the 2022 budget for revenue and expenditures not anticipated in the 2022 budget. The following adjustments are proposed. You can see them right up on the, I guess we call that a whiteboard. This ordinance was introduced on October 25th, 2022.
All right, thank you. And we will conduct the public hearing. Do we have any comments in the room or online for bill number 6-22?
No hands are raised online.
We're not online, but we do have our fearless finance director.
Fearless, it's that budget time. Just quickly, just want to, for the public and for the record, This is an annual ordinance that we do to clean up things that were unintended or action items from the commission over the year. A lot of the majority of this one happens to be with the ARPA funding or the American Rescue Plan Act funding that was discussed earlier in the year, and those projects are outlined here throughout. In addition, with the icing spots that we talked about, assignment of fund balance as well from the general fund. So that's really the part of this ordinance.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Curry. Are there questions or comments from the commission?
No, we went through this at length at a public discussion in which month? So. A couple months ago. Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
Two
fantastic.
public discussions. We had to do it twice. We didn't get through it. Sorry about that. Okay.
No worries. All right, with that, we will conclude the public comments. And we will move on to item number 8 with Commissioner Ramey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public hearing on the 2023 manager's recommended budget and the proposed tax rate for the year 2023. The manager's 2023 recommended budget, prepared pursuant to the Home Rule Charter, was submitted to the commission November 1st, 2021. Residents may inspect the budget during normal business hours at 710 Washington Road, which is our municipal building, and at the library. The recommended budget is also available on Mount Lebanon's website. More convenient, mountlebanon.org. Tonight, citizens have the opportunity to provide written and oral comments and suggestions regarding the budget and tax rate for 2023. The tax rate is proposed at 4.91 mils. The public will have an opportunity on December 13th, 2022 to comment on the commission's proposed adjustments to the manager's recommended budget. I would like to conduct the public hearing, and I propose the following agenda. Could we do public comments, then staff comments, then commission comments? Or do you want to do staff comments first? Okay,
I will open the public comment.
all right.
I see none signed up in person. Do we have anybody online for the manager's recommended budget?
Not at this time.
Thank you very much. Do we have staff comments on the manager's recommended budget? Hearing none. Do we have any commissioner comments?
I just want to comment that we are not increasing the millage tax. That is the current tax rate, 4.91 mils, and it will be the same for the next year.
Just a reminder, all those discussion sessions are public, correct?
All the public workshops?
Yeah.
Or the budget workshops? Correct. Yes, the public can view those. They can't comment during those, but they can comment and follow up.
And those are also online as well as on the public access channel.
They are both available to attend. You can actually attend them in person if they wanted to, but they can also attend them online via Zoom.
Right.
Or they will, and they are also will be broadcast on the 2 cable channels.
Right.
Thank you. 17 and 34. I don't know which one's which for Verizon. All right. If there are no other comments, we will close the public hearing. And we will move on to item number 9 with Commissioner Silverman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introduction of ordinance bill number 7-22 concerning municipalities' 2023 budget. Commission held a scheduled budget work session to review the budget on Monday, November 7th. Additional budget work sessions will be held on Saturday, November 12th, Thursday, December 1st, and if needed, on Monday, December 5th. A public hearing was just held to comment on the manager's 2023 recommended budget. A second public hearing is scheduled on December 13th regarding any commission revisions to the manager's recommended budget. The 2023 budget ordinance is scheduled for consideration at the December 13th, 2022 meeting. I introduced bill number 7-22.
Thank you, Commissioner Silverman. Item number 10 on the agenda, Commissioner Swager Wilson, please.
Introduction of ordinance bill number 8-22, fixing the tax rate for the year of 2023. The municipality will be reaffirming its tax rate in accordance with the adopted budget. The tax rate for the general purposes is currently 4.91 mils. The tax shall remain the same at a fixed rate of 4.91 mils for the year 2023 and continue in force for each successive calendar year without annual reenactment unless the tax is subsequently changed. I introduce ordinance bill number 8-22.
Thank you, Commissioner Swager Wilson. Item number 11 on the agenda, Commissioner Grella.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of ordinance bill number 5-22, amending the penalty for violations in chapter X 10. Part 12 of the municipal code of ordinances. Mount Lebanon amends fees annually through a fee resolution. There are some fees that need to be amended through ordinance. This ordinance amends violation amounts in chapter X, part 12 of the municipal code, and adds further clarification for payment methods when parked at a metered space. The primary violation amounts that will change are related to parking violations. Primary parking violations such as expired meters and overnight parking will increase by $5 beginning January 1, 2023. This ordinance was introduced October 11, 2022, and the public hearing was held October 25, 2022. I move to enact ordinance bill number 5-22.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12 on the agenda, Commissioner Randy, please.
Consideration of final approval of a minor subdivision plan on Lindendale Drive. Request for final approval of a minor subdivision plan. The Harrison D. Leonardo. That close? Plan proposes a lot line revision for the properties located at 1085 Lindendale Drive and 1105 Lindendale Drive. The property at 1085 Lindendale will be acquiring 2,063.93 square feet of property from the property at 1105 Lindendale in order to accommodate an existing driveway. Both properties are zoned as R1 residential and will conform to the area and bulk regulations. The planning board recommended final approval at its April 19, 2022 meeting. All engineering comments have been addressed. I move to grant final approval to the Harrison D. Leonardo minor subdivision plan.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion carries. Item number 13 on the agenda, Commissioner Swager Wilson, please.
This is consideration of the execution of the development agreement for grading, stormwater management, and erosion and sedimentation controls at 809 White Oak Circle. The municipal engineer and solicitor have recommended that the municipality enter into a developer's agreement with the property owners of 809 White Oak Circle to ensure completion of the grading, stormwater management, and erosion and sedimentation control plans associated with the construction of an in-ground swimming pool. I move to authorize the proper municipal officials to execute the development agreement between property owners Jim and Sue Lyle and Mount Lebanon Municipality for the grading, stormwater management, and erosion and sedimentation controls at 809 White Oak Circle, contingent upon receipt of the required financial securities within 60 days.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item number 14 on the agenda, Commissioner Silverman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of the execution of a stormwater operations and maintenance agreement at 809 White Oak Circle. Municipal engineer and solicitor recommended that the municipality enter into a stormwater operations and maintenance agreement with the property owners of 809 White Oak Circle for the stormwater BMP planned as part of the in-ground swimming pool installation project. I move to authorize the property municipal officials to execute the stormwater operations and maintenance agreement between property owners Jim and Sue Lyle at 809 White Oak Circle and Mount Lebanon Municipality for the BMP plan as part of the in-ground swimming pool installation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I just have one question. What is a BMP? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion carries. Item number 15, Commissioner Grella.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of commencement of pension benefits. Mount Lebanon sponsors 3 defined pension benefit plans for its employees, general employees, police, and firefighters. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's Department of the Auditor General requires that all benefit commencements for the police pension plan be approved by the commission. The employee detailed below and also on the screen has requested benefit commencement in accordance with the terms of his respective pension plan. I move to approve benefit commencement for Gary Radica.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments?
Sure.
We wish Gary a long and healthy retirement.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Mhm.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Beach to it.
That's right.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, items number 16 and 17 on the agenda are mine this evening. I have the pleasure of announcing the appointment for three intergovernmental organizations to our new commissioner, Ann Swager Wilson. That is to the Allegheny League of Municipalities, the Outreach Board, and Medical Rescue Team South. With Medical Rescue Team South, her term will expire on December 31st, 2024. The second item on the agenda, that I have on the agenda, is her announcement of her positions for the municipal boards and authorities. She is graciously going to serve on the Community Relations Board, the Equal Opportunity Board, and the Library Board. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. Thank you.